Okay, cool. What do you feel was my biggest impact to you today?
Oh, I think biggest impact would be uh getting more in touch of the things that I probably am naturally great at, but maybe sometimes I exert myself even more. I think generally I am energetic, generally because when I talk to people I get excited and passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think also knowing that I have a calm collector side as well, and I don't have to keep on playing at that level of like 300 km an hour kind of thing for everything I do. Because to me, everything in life, like for me, has to be like really like exciting or energetic and everything. So I like even with anyone itself, I bring that level of like energy into it because I feel like when the energy is in, then I feel like more. To me, I think I feel like more happier. I feel like other people also become happier. So then I think that I've been just copy and pasting that to every single interaction that I have, right? That even in my own personal life as well. So like force things to make it happen. Like in order for me to feel my purpose as well, like I force it out, like externalize it, make me go like okay, do through actions and things like that to shift. Uh, but then I also realized actually there's a side of being more calm, being more collected, which I think I've noticed it before, and I've noticed it like technically last year. I noticed it last year, but I think I haven't really like actively used it much that I can actually switch states to a more calm, a more collected state, especially when it comes to like I guess when it comes to problems, when it comes to mistakes, when it comes to things that aren't so great. I feel like this is probably the better state that I'll perform better in rather than go into a problem and like oh let's go find what the solution is and everything. Yeah, probably a calm collector state will be a much better state itself in
Cool.
solving those. Yeah.
Good. So remember to cut me the check after you hit the 100 million.
Nah, definitely give you a shout out.
No, it does
Yeah,
help.
I think this session has probably been the best session I've gotten from you. Yeah, I think like I realized like the sessions with you, the ones that I think like I really appreciate the most, or like I really feel like, wow, shit, this really would change the whole trajectory of what's gonna happen. I feel like this is one of those. Is those where like I think that's why like I think when it comes to NLP or coaching itself, whenever I refer to people, I'll be like NLP, yeah, Stuart. Like I feel like you are really the best in terms of like dissecting out like thought processes. Something that I always like to learn from you in terms of dissecting thought processes. But I see interviews that you do as well, like they're able to chunk up, chunk down so easily. I feel like chunking up, chunking down is like something that I have to like actively think, okay, chunk up, ask something. But you do it so naturally in terms of like dissecting out thought processes. I think that's what really is best because I mean, if I were to, I mean, if you don't mind me giving like what my opinion is, if you do mind like in terms of that, like I feel like you do like 100 times. I won't even say 10 times. I'll say like 100 times better in like coaching rather than training because I've been to like your trainings before we talk. I feel like your coaching sessions or like facilitation sessions are like on a different level itself because probably because of like the decades of experience itself lah. But I think it's more of like being able to dissect down and understand. I think one part of you, I'm not sure whether like I don't know because I think for me it's like understand like okay I do my best to understand but I know that deep within do I really understand I say the words so that they feel like oh they just understand me but deep within am I going like understand maybe not so much but I feel like you understand and then you are able to dissect down like the thought process at such like such a minute level. I won't say just at a chunk up, but also chunk down itself, like such a minute level that it's really amazing because I got so many things that I written down. I'm like, shit, this is like, I need to buy you a meal. This is like things that probably with my other coaches itself will probably take like many sessions. I feel like you broke it down in like all in one session itself. That like coaches will take many sessions, like no joke. Like other coaches will take many sessions to go off beliefs and things like. But you broke it everything down in like one session itself on like things to work on itself. Yeah, so I think that's freaking crazy, because like once again I think like the best parts about coaches is pointing out blind spots, right? And I think like if I were to say like who's the best in like pointing blind spots, it will probably be you. Like I won't even say anyone else. The first thing in my mind will probably be you.
Cool.
Best personal point in terms of blind spots, because like to be able to give analogies as well, to understand, to make us understand, oh, okay, this is what you mean when you say this. Because I think the difference between a good and great coach, I think good coach can just understand and go like, okay, I give you this advice. But I think for a great coach is someone that you don't have to speak much, but it's more of like my own self-discovery, like, oh shit, yeah, what he say from an analogy itself, like especially that part of stronger general to lead the army forward. And especially the whole analogy of the parachute behind my back. So I was like, shit, yeah, that's actually very true. Because then it's a contradiction, because I want to innovate, but then playing a parachute is kind of like playing it safe in that way as well. So like to me, I was like, yeah, shit, like I have this contradiction. It's I want to go forward, but then there's something that hold back. And then like, yeah, like that's pretty insane. The more I think about it, I'm like, shit, like things that I have to improve on in my coaching as well, like things like analogies, things like facilitating rather than like, just pointing it out itself. Because I think more often than not, I point it out. But for you, like making that self-discovery process of me understanding it, me finding it, makes it like internalize it a lot quicker rather than externalization of you telling me itself. I think like your coaching sessions are like 100 times or like 1,000 times actually. I mean, your training is good as well, but I'll say like the coaching is like, I don't even know what to call this coaching. I don't even want to call it coaching actually, because like I feel like coaching is a disservice to what it is.
I'm glad to have heard that. I mean, of course, I suppose I have to ask whether I can quote you on all the stuff that you mentioned after the.
Yeah, can go ahead. No, go ahead and quote. Yeah, legit. As in, shit, man. Like, once again, I think alignment coaching don't really justify what you do. Yeah, it's like so much more than that
I,
itself.
I
Like,
suppose, I suppose the concept is what Robert Dilts talks about is the difference between a coach and someone who's an awakener. So there's this process of awakening and enlightening and causing it's almost like the idea of coach would be like, okay, you're the butterfly and the chrysalis, then I go and poke you out, right? And pull you out.
yeah, correct.
But over here, it's like creating the space and ensuring the nurturing environment to allow its natural processes to take place so that the emerge
Yeah,
of.
actually, now that you say enlightening, yeah, it's more like a reintegration enlightenment, because it's not necessary. Like I feel like, cause that's a huge difference, right? Like I mean, with what Tony Robbins does, Tony Robbins is like, like boom, like the kind of high level breakthrough, like pull you, stretch you, and then release you. He always used the slingshot. Right? He always used the slingshot as a visualization. It's a pull back, then shoot forward. Yeah, so he always creates a lot of duality and a lot of contrast. I mean, something we learn from NLP, but yours not so much of the duality and contrast, which is very interesting, because usually when we do visualization, when we do contrasting, then that's what makes the huge difference, right? But for yours, yes, you do have contrast, but it's not that kind of like stretch until you want to break down, then you cry, and then you shoot back up. But yours is more of like you take it as what it is, no exaggeration or nothing, and then we just take the bits that we know we have to amplify, and then take the bits that we don't have to amplify and we.
Yeah, I suppose the transformative approach, that's why it's known as the structure of magic, right? So it feels magical, and definitely as in fact, and almost any other coach will probably struggle because they start off with a 3-day program and then they're a certified coach. So
yeah, and usually I think the approach that people go through is like breakthrough. Let's go. Then contrast, a lot of contrast, like pull back, go, pull back, go. But yours is not contrast, it's not pull back. That's why I think there's a difference of like breakthrough and like enlightenment. I think enlightenment is a great one. Like enlightenment and reintegration. I feel like the word reintegration really is like, because there are parts of maybe I did it before, but I actually don't. So let's integrate it back into my life, like the calm and collected state of mind. It's like, oh yeah, actually I had that part. Why did I choose to go everything into like more super energetic and everything itself? So then, yeah, like reintegration of parts that I have in my life, but I didn't think about doing it. Then that's that enlightenment, I guess.
but I don't know whether you are aware, but the nature of your energies are different compared with remember this
Yeah,
that you had, right? that one felt heavy, and it felt like the burden was yours to bear. Whereas this one is not so. You realize that? It's like
Yeah, it is.
lighter.
See, this is what I mean. I like what? Like I feel like the understanding that you have, like to grasp that understanding and not just understand but empathize at such a deep level that you know why it is that I probably am thinking. That's kind of freaky, to be honest. Yeah, because when you say that heavy burden of myself, yeah, actually I do feel it. Like I think a lot of the stress is because I think that I have to bear the responsibility, I have to bear this, I have to bear this, and go forward with it because like it is why I chose this path, so I have to go and bear it.
Yeah.
Then knowing that I actually have good teammates that can also support me and push and spearhead things, not just on this basis, but on a same level basis, push forward. Yeah.
Well, I would say that that there are, it takes two hands to clap. Let's just say that you feel that you're taking on a burden. It's incompatible with love, you see. So you hardly feel that you are loved or that you are loving. It doesn't make sense. Whereas at a higher level, when you allow that unleashing to take place, right? The irony is that you embody the negative more than the positive, which is very funny. Then it's like the leash shouldn't be there, but you go and deliberately take the leash and put, So it's like then the blood gets sucked out. Imagine an Avengers team where everybody else's superpower is not meant to save the world, but to save each other. Oh. And they're
Oh wow. Oh, that's a good analogy.
I think the problem with most superheroes is that they think that they carry the burden themselves. And I think I feel it myself too, right? And the ability to bring the power, the so-called superpower, as if you are the whatever god, goddess, whatever, right? I think that needs to be, and I think that's the reason why the guru mentality has been bashed up so much. It's like, oh, I am the best. But actually, no, it takes a village, right? So if the whole village is a whole bunch of collaborative, superpowered individuals who then level everybody up, then obviously your network equals your net worth because you're leveling everybody else up.
Don't mind you sharing this one, to be honest. I'm very open about whatever mistakes or vulnerabilities I have itself.
Right. I appreciate that. And therefore I wish I had a better background. But never mind.
Okay, Ken. Anyway, I gotta run right now.
Nice catching up, and
yeah, good catching up.
the rest of your weekend.
Okay, Ken.